Hey, what's going on, YouTube? I'm going to do a comparison with the two popular pistols out there today, and kind of let's see if I can help you guys make a decision if you're kind of leaning one way or the other. We're going to compare the Sig P238 and 380 and compare it with the Ruger LCP in 380. Now, what you see here is these are two 380s here, two different styles. One has a laser on it. It actually came with this pistol, but I put it on this one. This one has a Hogue grips on it. These are the original grips here. And the Ruger has been modified a little bit. It's got the Hogue grip on here with the aftermarket trigger, reduced spring kit, and a Laser Max laser. And but really what I want to get into is each one of these pistols has pros and each one of them has cons, and hopefully I'm going to go over that with you. So let's do just a quick check. That one's cleared. Let's do a quick check. That's cleared. And let's go ahead and drop the magazine out of this guy. Let's do a quick check. And that one's cleared. So let's start off with the Ruger. What the Ruger has for it, and I've done in other videos on this one, but in comparison, what this video is a comparison to the P238. Is you can get some aftermarket things on here, but you're kind of limited to, you know, probably this Hogue grip, maybe some stick-ons or things like that, but you know, not as many things that you can get to really bling out, you know, your pistol. The Laser Max, I tend to like the Laser Max better than the Crimson Trace because it doesn't, the Crimson Trace comes down here and has a button, so when you grab it, it comes on, and that prevents the use of this Hogue grip. And this Hogue grip's really what makes this pistol come alive and, you know, absorb a lot of the recoil and things like that. But the key thing that what these pistols really are made for is concealed carry. And if you think about it, if you are really going to have to draw this weapon and fire it, and you know, no matter how much training you've got, I mean, that's a stressful situation, and you're going to pull and fire, and you know, you're going to try to, you know, everybody's going to try to aim, but it's going to be a very reactive situation. So in that sense, I don't really focus on sights as much for that situation. And of course I got a white dot of paint here just to help me see, but as you can see, the Ruger sights are kind of minimal. I mean, there's not much to it, but then again, and for what I consider a defensive carry, you know, it really doesn't matter. Now going to the range, it does, and doing some plinking and target shooting, oh, it absolutely does. But in my belief, that defensive situation doesn't warrant it. The biggest thing about this is when you're carrying this weapon, this is a double action pistol only. And so when you pull that trigger back, it's a stiffer pull, and it's hammer fired back here. This hammer does fire. And so you've got a long, I always like to double check, a long break, and then the slide comes back, and then you fire again. And that's a pro and a con. The reason why is because when you're carrying this in your pocket, there is no safety. Now, I put this in the same class as the bodyguard. They're very similar. The bodyguard does have a safety, but that means the safety is, as they say, is between your ears. It's you, and that means this trigger has to be a long and deliberate pull to fire the weapon. So what you really want to do is carry it in some sort of you know, holster in your pocket, and there's a bunch of different types, but you want to keep it that way so nothing really can get in there and grab the trigger. Therefore, when you pull it, then you can fire the weapon. So you know, that's a pro and a con. The pro is that it's a very deliberate trigger pull to fire it. But the con is, as you're doing that, you know, your hand can be moving around, especially in a stressful situation, and your accuracy is going to be much less. And even at the range, you know, unless you've really trained on this for a long time, then it's tougher to be accurate. You know, you really need to practice with any firearm that you have. So that's kind of the pro and con of of any double action only. The other one I've seen, if you watch like Hickok 45 does a review on this, and you'll notice he's shooting and then he'll pull the trigger and there's nothing there. And the reason why is because this slide does not lock on the last round fired. And you've got to keep count. So if you've got 6 and one in the snout and then you fire, that's 7 shots. So you need to know that's going on. Otherwise, your last one is going to just be a click. Now, the Sig it's heavier. It is heavier because it's an all metal construction, stainless steel slide, aluminum frame, and it is a completely different animal. This is a single action only. And for those of you who don't know, a single action is, when the hammer's back, let's make sure this is cleared. If you can see this, and I'll bring the hammer down, it's a very small break, and that hammer fires. We can show it again. If you watch my finger down here, see, it doesn't have to go very far at all. Now notice the Ruger has to come you have to pull that all the way back for it to fire. Now, once again, that's a pro and a con. Why? A single action for most people is your accuracy is much higher. And the reason why is because you got a shorter trigger control. But with that also comes the con of you need to be really safe with that because it's a lighter trigger to fire it. There's more chance of an accident. So given that, the LCP, you carry it just like this. You put in a magazine, you rack around, you can add another shell if you want to, and then you put it in the pocket and there you go. When you draw it, no safety, you're ready to fire. To do the equivalent with the SIGs is you need to be able to put the magazine in, you rack the slide, the hammer's back ready to go, and you need to put it on safety. And the same for this one here. Pop a magazine in, rack the slide, put one in the chamber, and put it on safety. Now at that moment, the trigger will not engage the hammer. But whenever you draw the weapon in a defensive situation, you've got to remember to put the safety off. Otherwise, it won't fire. So, like I said, pros and cons. The pro is, once again, you've got a really nice short action, yet you've got to remember to take the safety off, because even, like I said, Hickok 45, which I like his videos, he would draw it and pull the trigger and he'd forget to take the safety off. Now 1911 owners, which is what this is modeled after, have no problem with that because they've trained with that. They pull it and their hand just goes down. They automatically know to do that. Now it's different than some of the Berettas that are decocker, is when you pull this down, it decocks the hammer. But the way you want to carry it is safety on and the trigger back. Now in a different video I talked about, you could carry it like this, with one of the round, but you've always got the problem is you got to disengage the hammer, and that means you got to grab a hold of the hammer, pull the trigger, and let it go slowly, and hold it like that. Now you could leave it off safety, but the other part of that is when you draw the weapon, you have to pull the hammer back because the trigger won't do anything. It's single action only. So, like I said, this video isn't about, which is better and the quality. I mean, SIGs these can run between $620 and $800. They're very expensive. They're very well made. They're very high quality. Rugers, you can, the LCP, you can get this one, let's say 280 used, all the way up to $350. And if you put the laser on there, they may run $400 and $420. So these two configurations, you're looking at $420 versus $750, and this is the Sig Sauer laser. Without the laser, you're looking at $400, $420, $620, $650. So a good $200 to $300 difference between these firearms. Now, this is lighter weight, very lightweight, and easy to toss around, throw in a pocket. You hardly know it's there. Now, this isn't that heavy, but it's heavier than this, and that's another thing of consideration that you need to think about. But um, if I had to pick one, I couldn't. I'd want to pick both because I love the way that this Sig is. It's really well made, and I love its look on it. But I like the versatility and lightweight of this LCP. It's easy to conceal and easy to use. And like I said, you can get different upgrades for it. I've mentioned before, but if you got any upgrades at all, put the grip on there because that's really what makes the difference. So, tough decision. If you can get them both, carry both. I've done that a lot. I found out that we pistol owners are very fickle. We'll buy a pistol and shoot it for a while and like it, but trade it and buy something different and buy something different and maybe come back full circle again and buy the same pistol we sold a long time ago. Not the same one, but the same model and everything. And that's just the way the nature of the beast is. But anyway, like I said, those are the pros and cons between the two, and hopefully this will help you make a decision for picking a concealed carry firearm. I don't think you could go wrong either way, but if I had to choose one, and let's say that I had $1,000 in my pocket and I had to choose one, man, that would be tough. That would be a really tough thing. But if my only purpose was concealed carry, meaning I'm not going to shoot it a whole lot, and that it's like either in my pocket or the glove box or things like that, I'd probably go with the Ruger. I think it's lighter weight. I think it's easier to put in your pocket and forget that it's there in a sense. But if I wanted something that I wanted to keep for a long time that I think would wear well, that after many of thousands rounds is going to not give me a problem, then I would go with the Sig. So if you want to collect one, go with this. If you want one for daily use, I'd go with this one. Anyway, hope this helps. Best of luck to you. Be safe. Have fun shooting.